building a comic book shelf. In this video, I'll be showing you how I built my comic book shelf. So I had some clearance 1x8 inch pine boards that I bought a long while ago, and they were surprisingly really good pieces without much defect. Before we start with the build, here are the measurements of my shelf. It was in total 48 inches tall and 12 inches wide, and each piece is about 3/4 of an inch thick. Almost all the graphic novels that I have are fortunately a very similar width, and the measurements worked out perfectly. Some of the pieces, they had cracks and holes, but I kind of like it that way, and so I sized them down from about 6 feet down to 4 feet. And I took the cut pieces to make 10.5 inch shelves. It was kind of slippery on that bench, so I used the mat to prevent slipping on the wood. And I needed one more shelf, and I decided to use a plywood piece with similar dimensions. Gotta save my knees with these knee pads before sanding down everything. Then I wanted to use a very thin piece of plywood to act as a backing of the bookshelf. And I used this golden pecan stain, which I thought looked good. And I could have used pre-stain, but I was just too lazy and I didn't think it looked too bad. Maybe it's less obvious with a lighter stain. And I used polyurethane satin finish for water protection. And again, saving those knees with some knee pads. To help the pieces dry, I actually propped the pieces up on a piece of 2x4. Then I applied a second coating. And after letting it dry, I used a 220 grit sandpaper to smooth it out. To screw in the shelves, I had some miscellaneous 1.5 inch screws. And this is the plywood piece that I cut that is not much different than the pine wood. For these omnibuses, they are a little bit taller than the graphic novels at 11.25 inch compared to 10.25 inch, but have a similar width. So the top two shelves I made 11.5 inches tall, and the bottom two shelves I made about 10.5 inches tall. And I need to double check and make sure that the sides are at 90 degrees. and I flipped the shelf around and screwed in the rest. The last part was adding in the backing for the shelves with that thin piece of plywood I cut earlier. And again, I wanted to use some leftover miscellaneous screws. And these are some extra plywood pieces that would act as the base and top of the shelf so that it would balance better. Now it's time to move the shelf to my corner. And if you're noticing a similar shelf to the right, you are correct. Let me bring you back to a few months ago when someone took over my shelves with Babysitter Club books. It was time I made my own. And now for the fun part, filling up the shelves. The top two shelves I made tall enough to fit these omnibuses. And the bottom two shelves are only tall enough for the graphic novels. And here's the amount of space left above the omnibus, and from the side this is how much it sticks out. And this is one of the shelves for the graphic novels. And that is the comic book shelf. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see new content, and we'll see you next time.